My name is Alan Long. I'm an anchor and reporter at ABC 7 News. I've been on the news desk for 7 years here in San Francisco, but I've been reporting and anchoring the news for 21 years. We're talking about the bamboo ceiling, what is perceived as the bamboo ceiling amongst Asians and Asian Americans in America. Now, the bamboo ceiling is defined as a combination of individual, cultural, and organizational factors that impede Asian American progress inside of organizations. It has been described as a barrier that excludes Asians from executive positions on the basis of subjective factors like lack of leadership potential and lack of communication skills. And the Census Bureau reports that even in fields where Asian Americans are highly represented, like Silicon Valley software industry, they comprise a disproportionately small percentage of upper management board positions. I'd like to introduce our panel of members that we're going to be speaking to today. Our first member is Phac Le Tuan. He is the CEO of Pacework. He left Vietnam when he was 17 years old to study engineering in Paris. He joined a French startup in the computer-aided design industry. His company was acquired by a multinational company, Schlumberger. You may know them. After that, he was sent to Mountain View to work for Apple for 2 years. He left Apple to found and join a number of startups, first in computer animation, then in online advertising, and then mobile space. Now he has built a large range of mobile applications which connect brands and consumers. He's also the author of several U.S. patents. Please welcome Phac Le Tuan. Tracy Wan is the Chief Operating Officer at Cycle Gear. They make cycle gear, everything but the motorcycle. She has, prior to joining Cycle Gear, she served in several capacities at the Sharper Image, including Executive Vice President of Finance, Chief Financial Officer, and eventually President and Chief Operating Officer since 1999. Please welcome Tracy Wan. All right, C.C. Yin is the owner of 28 McDonald's restaurants in Vacaville, Fairfield, Sassoon City, Rio Vista, Clear Lake, Vallejo, Benicia, American Canyon, and San Francisco. Odds are you have bought a hamburger from this guy. Prior to his success as a business owner, he spent 18 years as an engineer, so he will have something to say about the bamboo ceiling himself. Please welcome Mr. C.C. Yin. On the end here is Bill Imada. He is the founder, chairman, and chief collaboration officer of the IW Group. That is an advertising, marketing, and public relations firm that specializes in the rapidly growing U.S. Asian markets. For more than 2 decades, Bill and his firm have represented some of the best-known brands in the country, including American Airlines, Bank of the West, Coca-Cola, Comcast, Farmers Insurance, McDonald's, MetLife, Nissan, Pacific Gas and Electric Company, Southern California Edison, Walmart, Walt Disney's Imagineering, and Warner Brothers Pictures. So quite a resume there. Please welcome Bill Imada. Now, interestingly, 3 of our guests, the gentlemen here, were in corporate America. They broke away to start their own businesses. Tracy, however, is the only guest who is still kind of in that corporate structure right now, working her way, and has broken through that glass ceiling. And I'd like to start off with you, Tracy. How did you break through the glass ceiling?
I actually think I'm pretty loud, but I think because of the video, I better use the mic, right?
Yes.
Okay. Well, good morning again. I know we stand between you and lunch, so we better be really entertaining and informative, right? So as we prep for this session, you know, it gave me goosebumps to look at the professional profile of NAAAPSF. I mean, this is a really, really well-educated group. You guys have come a long ways in your career. I'm very proud to be here today. Now let me first see a show of hands, because I saw the demographics of this group. How many of you are actually in the finance sector? Okay. And how many of you are in the technology sector? Great. Because I was really worried because there was only 3% in the retail sector. And that's what I represent. But don't let that fool you, because I actually came from the financial ranks, so I'm legit. As Alan said, I came through as the CFO, EVP, before I moved over to the sales and operations at the Sharper Image. And I basically grew up there. I was there for 17 years, and really a fantastic journey. And as we say too, I think David has said we have to be a little bit of luck, but a lot of preparation. So what I want to share with you is that looking at the factors, reflecting back of how I went from a very lowly staff when I was in public accounting. It was interesting because when David was speaking, how many of you saw the keynote speech? Really good, right? David was a great speaker. And he said, guess what my mom wanted me to be? And I was just the silly voice that say a lawyer because he's a lawyer. But apparently his mom wanted him to be a doctor. Well, same with me. I had three choices. I was either going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a professional accountant. Not just an accountant, but a CPA. So, and I hated the hospital, and I don't really like to argue. I like to present, but I don't like to argue. So guess what? I became a CPA. So that was my early entry into the professional world. So I feel that I can relate to a lot of you in the financial sector. Technology sector, what was the Sharper Image known for? Gadgets. We were the first one to introduce
the massage chair.
The massage chair. I have one of those still at my home. But all the latest and greatest in technology, that was the model. What's new? It was always what was new. And we was always the first to market with some very, very cool products. So from a technology standpoint, from a financial standpoint, and really leading into the retail standpoint. As I reflect back, there were three top things that had helped me along. And I hope that when you hear these points, you'll say, oh, but Tracy, those are common sense. Well, guess what? Good ideas, as they say, is a dime a dozen, but putting it into well execution is the hard part, right? So it's like this points that I'm going to share with you is that they sound like common sense and easy, but to put it into practice, not so much. But if you do, when you do, you're going to find a lot of personal growth, a lot of rewards. So first item, and this is not new, be excellent at what you do. Notice I didn't say be perfect at what you do. Perfection is costly. Don't go there. But be really, really good at what you do. Well, what does that mean? Well, if you're in public accounting, you better be really good at your game. Is there an exposure draft that's coming out? Alan doesn't know what I'm talking about, but it's okay. The accountants in the world would know what I'm talking about. What FASB does it pertain to? Or if you're in the technology world, if you're going to be a Java programmer, be an awesome one. Go be like Tian. He's breaking through the thinking. He's disrupting the industry. But be really excellent at what you do. And when you're doing what you do, especially in your 20s and 30s, ask for feedback. Don't just assume that you did well or you did bad. Ask for feedback of your immediate supervisor or somebody else in a different department. How did your work help impact their results? And listen. When they tell you, listen hard, because just as important as the compliment is the constructive feedback. Actually, complaints, right? That's the euphemism for complaints, constructive feedback. So the other aspect too is be confident. Once you've learned to do what you do very, very excellent, be confident about it. Because you know you're good. And once you're confident about it, advocate for yourself. Let it be known that you're really good at something, but you don't have to toot your own horn all the time. You let other people do it for you because you're showing it through results, right? So how many of you, oftentimes when somebody gives you a compliment, when was the last time someone said, wow, that was a really great report you put together? And what do you say? Oh, it's nothing.
That's the Asian thing to say.
Right. We are all taught to say that. My mom would beat me still today when she say, oh, 好沉啊. That's Cantonese, say, oh, Tracy, 好沉啊. Say, you're very proud, you're overconfident. No, I'm not. I'm good at this. So accept it with grace, and oftentimes just say, wow, that's a very nice thing to say, and I appreciate that.
Well, Tracy, you know, these gentlemen are great at what they do. They're confident, but obviously in their careers they ran into some obstacles, right, guys? What was that?